welcome to Kristen Kelly TV. So today I'm going to be doing a story time, and you probably have guessed from the title, this is a paranormal activity, haunting, scary story type of video that happened in my real life. If you'd like to hear about this, please continue watching. Okay, first of all, I'd like to say that I have water and I have my tissues with me because I have only told this, I've never told all of these stories together, but the ones that I have told, I kind of cry sometimes talking about it because it is so emotional and so scary. So I am fully prepared right now. So I had somebody leave me a comment on a storytime video, and they were like, hey, tell a paranormal story. And when I saw that, I was like, oh, that's so crazy, because I actually had some really insane paranormal stuff happen with me. I did not want to talk about it though, because it's really scary, and I also don't want to put that bad juju out into the planet. But I recently saw a few other paranormal story times, and I was like, well, you know what? Maybe my story will help somebody else, and I do think that I should tell it, even though it is kind of emotional for me and very spooky. Okay. So I'll start from the beginning. I think that I am very psychic. I think that we're all psychic. I feel after you reach the age of 10, your psychic abilities kind of go down a little bit, they kind of dull a little bit. For me, I always remember being able to not see dead people, but sense people, sense that there were people somewhere, or that there was a soul somewhere. I remember the very first time I went into my friend Nick Jackson's house, I got this overwhelmingly scary, just cool wind kind of feel over me. And I immediately thought, oh my God, there was someone named Martha that died here. That just clicked in my head immediately. Someone named Martha died here. I didn't say anything to him because at the time I just thought oh, I was being really paranoid, and I was very young when this happened. And every time I would go to Nick's house, I always felt like I was being watched. Every single time I went to his house, I felt really creeped out. And one day he told me that his aunt died in the house, and her name was Martha. So that was kind of the first time that I ever experienced that I had kind of supernatural abilities, or that I could sense things that maybe other people couldn't sense. I also would like to point out that this is kind of something that is in my family. My grandmother had a stroke and fell down a flight of stairs and was never able to speak again. And the night before that happened, she talked to my mom, and my mom had told her that she had this really intense dream where someone had fallen down a flight of stairs and was never able to speak again. And my grandmother said that's crazy, and that you don't have to worry about that, and everyone's fine, no one's gonna get hurt. And the following day, my grandmother fell down a flight of stairs and was paralyzed and never spoke again, and was in a nursing home for close to 20 years. So in my family, I feel I have a lot of that. I feel we all do, but we don't allow ourselves to be connected to that world. I've also had experiences where I feel that people were trying to contact me. I was laying in bed one night with my boyfriend, my current boyfriend. We've been together for years. We were laying in bed, not where we live now, but at the place that we used to live. And it's a very new complex. It's a new building, but it was in Los Angeles. So people have lived, I'm sure, on that plot of land before, but not in that particular building. We were both sleeping one night, and when you're falling asleep and you kind of feel yourself between being awake and being asleep, and I kind of felt there was 4 people walking around the bed. I felt there was 3 women and 1 man, and I kind of could, when someone walks by you and let's say they have a big dress on, you can kind of hear that swooshing noise on the ground. I'm getting goosebumps. I heard that. I heard that kind of swooshing sound. But I was falling asleep, so I'm thinking, I'm not really thinking, I'm just, I'm going to sleep. And my boyfriend kind of woke me up and was like, hey, Chris. My eyes are still closed. And he's like, do you believe in ghosts? And I shot out of bed so fast. I like ran over, I like turned on the light, and I was like, what? And he was like, I just really sensed that there were a few women and a man walking around the room. And I like just about freaked out. I started crying. I was like, oh my God, like I felt the same exact thing. And he was like, I really like sensed it. And he's not somebody that's like, oh, you know, like he's not like a spiritual person. And it really, really scared me when he said that, because that's exactly like what I had sensed. And I've sensed a lot of different things throughout my life, but when you're sensing it by yourself, you don't give it much credit because you think like, oh, you know, it's in my imagination, it's not really happening. But the fact that he had sensed it too, really, it just like scared the hell out of me. So maybe a month later, I was taking a shower and my window in the mirror in the bathroom was like all fogged up, you know, normally as it is. And when I got out, I noticed there was a handprint on the mirror. And this was not like, you know, this was not, oh, I touched it a little bit. This was a full-fledged handprint in the middle of the mirror. And this was not like a mirror that opened and then behind it was like medicine or something. This was not a mirror that I normally would touch. So it also, the hand was like a woman's hand. Like I could, you know, I just looked at it and I knew it wasn't my boyfriend's hand. So that like really scared me, but I still kind of like ignored it. And then I would say maybe like 2 or 3 days later, and I had kind of voiced my opinions to my mom, but not in the house. Like I kind of called her like when I was like walking the dogs and was like, hey, you know, it's really weird. I think I saw a handprint. And my mom was like, that's not, you know, it's in your imagination. Like there's not a handprint, you know, leave it alone. So a few days later I had an audition and the role was for a girl who had been killed. And I was practicing by myself. Like I had my sides and I was just like practicing. And I was, you know, speaking out loud as I was practicing. And a vase that was in the kitchen at the time, like my floor plan was kind of open. The apartment that I had lived in, it was a very open floor plan. So you could see everything. Like you could see the kitchen, the living room, everything, open floor plan. You understand what that means. So, oh my God, it's like so creepy talking about. So I was practicing this like monologue, this scene for this audition about this girl who was killed. And a vase fell off of the kitchen counter, which is very weird. I mean, I don't have a cat. I have 2 dogs that are very small and they can't get up to a counter. It's not like there was any way that they could have done it. And also they were sitting there. I was by myself. I was alone. There was no other person that was alive that could have done it. So it really was unbelievably scary for me. But at the same time, I am a realist. So I thought, you know, maybe it was just, it fell. It's not that big of a, you know, it's not like a supernatural thing. You're freaking out about nothing. So I cleaned it up and whatnot. I put the flowers into another vase and I like continued like with my, you know, practicing for this audition, and it happened again. I had the vase on the dining room table now. So like out the beginning when it had fallen, it was on the kitchen, like the kitchen, you know, like next to the sink pretty much. And then this time in a different vase, the flowers were in the middle of my very large dining room table, and it like fell over, the vase fell over on the table and like smashed into a million pieces, which is so weird because the way that the vase was smashed, you would have thought that a person, if you had taken a vase and you threw it at a wall and it smashed into a million pieces, that would, you know, be understandable. But if a vase just fell, you would think it would smash to a few pieces. This was like hundreds of pieces. So I was really freaked out at this point, and I got my dogs and I left my apartment. I was like, I'm not staying here for the night. The next day when I came home, all of the lights were on and the water was running in the kitchen, which of course I didn't leave the water on. I didn't leave the lights on. At this point, like I kind of thought that maybe like I was, you know, being haunted or something was happening. So I went to that audition And that was another thing, is that I had my sides for the audition, and I had my headshot, like with my resume and everything, on the like couch in the living room. And when I had come back home actually to grab those before I went to the audition because I had forgotten them. When I went to get them, I couldn't find them. Like, I couldn't find the script, and I also couldn't find the headshot. But I do have to say, in all fairness, I did like throw my stuff together really fast when I left. So I possibly could have, I mean, somehow taken it with me, not known, but then like, where did it go? I don't know. I thought like maybe I put it in the car and then it had slipped through something, but I never found it. Like, to this day, I never found the script. I never found that headshot that I had like, had laying there. So that in itself was, like really scary. But I never, after that happened, nothing else happened in that place. Like, I didn't have any more like bad vibes. I didn't have anything happen. So I don't know if it was because I was going to an audition where a girl was killed and I was like acting that out, because in the scenes I was acting out a girl who was about to be killed, and after, or like, and while she was being killed, it was like a reenactment show. So I don't know if maybe that affected the spirits or something, and that's why that happened, because it never happened again. And I used to have like, my acting class, we always had like home sessions that we would do. I probably had 2 to 3 rehearsals a week with people in my class, like 5 people in my apartment, and I never had anything like that happen. So that in itself was just so crazy. Maybe a month before I moved from that place, I had a bunch of really weird things happen too, but they weren't at all similar to those things that happened in that past story. I had a shelf. Okay, so I went to a flea market and I had it was like a spice rack that I painted. I put some wire on it and I made it into a nail polish rack. I had set it up in my bedroom, and a month before I had moved out, I had alerted my landlord, as you're supposed to do like 30 days in advance. I literally emailed my landlord, and then that night, in the middle of the night, the whole thing crashed down, which was really weird because I had it up for some time. So the wire that was attached to it was fine. The spice rack was fine. It looked like it was in pristine condition. It didn't look as if it was damaged in any way. Like, it didn't look like the wire had popped off or anything of that sort, or one of the like wooden brackets had broken. It just looked like it had fallen off of the wall, which was really weird because I had it so secure. And all the nail polishes broke except all of the red ones. All of the pink nail polishes, all of my colored nail polishes, every nail polish broke except the red nail polishes. And there was like 6 red, but I had maybe 6 of each other color. So that was so strange that none of the red ones broke. And that was really eerie because, like, red is like, it's like red rum, it's like red is the color of murder. I don't know. So that happened. And then a week later, all of the lights blew out, which could have been like a circuit breaker or something, but every single light breaking, like, I've never had that happen where all of the lights like exploded. This wasn't like they just like, it was exploding, like every light, and that just scared the hell out of me. Also, my dogs were really freaked out by the closets. But it was only the last month. The whole time I lived there, my dogs never were freaked out by the closets. But the last month of living there, my dogs kept like sniffing the closets and barking at the closets, which really freaked me out. And my boyfriend and I like didn't really live together at that time, but he was there like every day. He was like, wow, it's so weird that they keep barking at it. Because I didn't even mention it to him because it was so weird to me that my dogs were barking at the closets that they had never barked at before. So I didn't say anything to him. And then he was the one who was like, hey, isn't that weird that the dogs are barking at the closet? And I was like, yeah, like, I don't know. I have no idea. But I was moving already, so I, wasn't like, let's, bring a priest in here. And then, oh, okay, this is the last thing that happened in that apartment that was very weird. I, as everyone that's of drinking age, has like shot glasses and wine and alcohol. I didn't have like a huge apartment, so I didn't have a big place to put them. I had all of those things in a, like, not like a liquor cabinet. I mean, I don't have kids or anything. Not like a liquor cabinet, but like a little cabinet above the refrigerator. But if I was, gonna have a glass of wine or something, I would take out the wine, put it on the counter, or take out the Tito's because I love Tito's and put it on the counter. And I had a bunch of different shot glasses that I've gotten from different places. All of my shot glasses like started disappearing. Like really weird because I didn't drink that much. I remember when I moved in, I'd gotten 2 huge bottles, like handles from Costco. It took me like forever to drink those. Like I am not somebody who just like takes a shot, like it has to be like a special occasion and people are there. But if I'm gonna make a cocktail, normally I will measure it out with a shot glass. But I'll use like the same shot glass. It's not like I'm using like a million different shot glasses. But I had all of my shot glasses were disappearing, like one by one by one, like just disappearing. But this only started happening the last month because I would go to like make a drink and like moving is stressful. So I feel like I was drinking a little bit more maybe. I would go to get a shot glass to measure out my drink and I'd be like, oh, that's so weird. Like, how is it that I'm missing like, such and such shot glass? So like I had a pink sparkly one that I would use like all the time and it disappeared. I couldn't find it anywhere. And I had one from Boston and it disappeared and couldn't find it anywhere. And the day that I moved, I had like everything already out of my place. And I went just to do like, a last check of like looking around and, looking for stuff. And my pink shot glass, oh my God, I'm like getting so many chills right now, was just sitting underneath the like where the sink is, like underneath where like when you open the 2 little doors, it was just sitting there. And it was so weird because I had cleaned under there. Like I had taken all my cleaning supplies out. I had taken everything, but my pink shot glass was just sitting there, which was so creepy to me because I feel like my ghost was a girl and I feel like she was trying to communicate with me. And I feel like almost like she was trying to say like, don't move and like, I'll miss you, which I felt like it was so weird when I saw that pink shot glass because I kind of felt, I was scared. I definitely was like, oh my fucking God, like what the hell is that doing there? But I also felt like I was kind of like, oh my God, like I feel like my ghost was trying to communicate with me and this was her way of like saying goodbye, like she'd kind of taken it and then left it for me. I don't know. It was kind of sad. Yeah, I don't know. But another like kind of some paranormal things is that I have like I have dreams where I will dream of something and then that will happen. My brother had a baby like 3 years ago and my mom never told me. No one told me that like, that his wife was pregnant. I had a dream that someone had a baby. And I called my mom and I was like, hey, is someone pregnant? Like, who's pregnant? No, I didn't even say is. I just said, who is pregnant? And my mom went silent. And she's like, what? And I'm like, somebody's having a baby. Like, I said my brother's names. I was like, so who's pregnant? And my mom was like, oh my God, like, I've wanted to tell you, but my brother and I don't have a good relationship. And she's like, I really wanted to tell you, but I didn't, want to, like, I was told not to tell you and all this stuff. So it was just crazy. I knew that, somebody was having a baby. I also have had like so many dreams where something not a significant thing will happen. Like I'll have a dream, like people say it's deja vu, which is really like your brain is having some kind of whatever. I truly believe in deja vu because I have dreams all the time where something small will happen and then that will happen in real life. If it's like getting a commercial audition or doing something like small, I will have a dream about it and then that will happen. Even like I'll have a dream that I saw a celebrity and then I will see that celebrity, like very tiny weird things. So I definitely believe in, your dreams having psychic abilities that push you through. Yeah. All right. I think that there's like some more stuff. I'm trying to think. I should have made notes because I've had just so many different things happen where I've had like some psychic things. But please leave me some stories. Like if you guys have had anything like this happen, please leave me comments below. If you like this, if you want more like this, please leave me some thumbs up. I love you guys and I'll talk to you later. Bye.